What's up, legends? Welcome to Blindside's preseason fantasy analysis. We've got the Panthers up here now. There's a few big talking points on these guys, but nothing really too in-depth. So you're not going to cop another TV series of 4 seasons like we just did with the Knights. And we'll just move straight through this one pretty quick. Season schedule, boys, how do you see it for them?
12, 15, 19 buys. It's not a bad shout because a lot of the boys that you're going to get are going to be playing Origin anyway. So you're going to be without them anyway. And the fact that they have those buys at those weeks, they are the kind of boys that I would buy and probably hold if I could. Considering now that you're only having to play top 13 through all those tough buy, major and minors, for me, they would be boys to buy and hold.
Are you seeing the same, Brownie?
Yeah, bro. Whichever Panthers boys you buy and hold. They're going to be playing Origin. Their buys perfectly meet up to the Origin schedule, so it's like that they've got the best draw for any rep players, I guess. So yeah.
I reckon they're probably the premier team to buy and hold for the whole season.
So let's go into buys, fellas. Readjust my head so not half of it's cut off. Nathan Cleary.
Actually.
Yeah, maybe we'll get more views if I sit that back down. There we go. So Nathan Cleary. I'll start with you, Kenty. Why do you think Cleary is a buy for 2026?
He's a buy because he's Nathan Cleary, best player in the game, the GOAT of fantasy. I think there's the narrative they started poorly last year. They don't want to start poorly again. I think they're going to come out firing. I think the other major narrative running around here at the moment is the fact that Cleary is unsatisfied with how he has played in the last couple of years, but particularly last year, and he's really unsatisfied with how he's played Origin. So I think he's coming with fresh motivation and a fresh push to go pretty hard. Look, I think it was like 22 was the last time he started the season really well. He hasn't started very well the last few seasons, which is why a lot of people have been anti-potting him. Again, there's massive talk about anti-potting him now. I think all three of us have mostly had our first 25, 30,000 drafts have been without him. But the reality is that he is Nathan Cleary, and if you miss the 80 plus, and we know he's got 100 in him just about any round, it's massive. And he's playing Broncos, Sharks, Roosters first 3 games, which is why most people are anti-potting him, because of also we've seen him not reach those same heights in those last sort of 3 season starts. So yeah, he's definitely a buy. Don't get me wrong. If we're anti-potting him to start, we all want to have him by round 5, round 6. Whether or not you have the cash to start off with and you want to start with him or you don't. But the reality is too that I still find really crazy is that he's only got a current ownership of just under 25.
That's the crazy appeal, hey, is like how low ownership he is. Because I've currently got 155K with a full team. And I could easily just go, do I want Isaiah Yeo or do I want to go to Nathan Cleary? I can make that call if I need to. I could probably do it with a lot of players in that high range. What about you, Brownie? How do you see Nathan Cleary?
There was always this talk about his past historic slow starts. Now, he was not in my team. He is now currently in my team, and I think he is going to stay in my team because of some comments he made recently. He wasn't happy with his Origin performances last year. He wasn't happy with the Penrith's finals performances last year. Motivator for them, to start this season strong, come out of the gates very, very fast. That is why he's in my side. I think he's very confident he's going to be getting these boys up for the task.
And against the Broncos, game 1, they're going to have something to prove. And I think that's the game, especially that Cleary's going to really try to stamp his mark, and he could put up a really big score in that Broncos game.
It's exactly what I was just about to say there. If there's anyone in that top tier that can score well against good teams, it's Nathan Cleary. Yeah. He turns up when he has to. Let's breeze over Dylan Edwards because I'm not interested in him at all. He's way too heavily priced. I've seen a handful of teams with him. He is priced heaps heavy. Nathan Cleary is going to be doing the goal kicking. He doesn't perform as well against stronger sides as we preempt that Nathan Cleary could potentially do. So for me, it's Dylan Edwards going to lose cash. If something does happen to Cleary, though, he is a consideration, but just remember he is an Origin player. So once you get him into your team, if it's too close to that Origin period, it's more or less just a bust. You're not going to have him for the reasons you need him. You're not going to have him long enough to score well. He's going to be out. You're going to need cover for him. But do you guys have anything to add there on Dylan Edwards, or just a firm avoid as well?
Avoid.
Yeah, avoid. Yeah, for a couple more grand, you can go up to the likes of Teddy or Walsh. He's an avoid for me.
Yeah. I'd be going Teddy any day over Edwards.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into the Roosters potty, to be honest. It's what I'm really looking forward to. Brownie, you have a pod for us.
It's Isaiah Papali'i. Now, I'm only high on him because we saw at the back end, well, last year, I should say, he was coming off the bench for Penrith. But this guy, historically playing second row, is an absolute beast. His historic average at second row is 52.2, right? But if we look at even last season, when he played 5 games in that position for Penrith. So he played 80 minutes, 90 minutes, 80 minutes, 40 minutes, which is a bit of an outlier game, and then 73 minutes. Now, he had an average of 54 points. He's currently priced at 45, so he's at that kind of awkward kind of range where you can expect him to maybe get that, but there's also that complication of will he play 80 minutes? So we know Liam Martin will play 80 minutes. Isaiah Papali'i, I'm not quite sure, because you'll have Scott Sorensen reverting to the bench, is my guess, which can cover that second row position. Historically, if Papali'i gets the minutes, I think he is a massive, massive purchase. And playing for a team like Penrith, it's going to be pretty good to watch. For me, he's just a watch at the moment, just to see how those minutes shape out. But if he plays 80 minutes, say over the first 3-4 rounds, I'm heavily considering purchasing him.
I got him a watch for some of the reasons that you've mentioned there, and also more of an environment reason is the Panthers don't typically play 80-minute edges. They always use someone from the bench to cover additional minutes, and I can see Isaiah Papali'i playing in, like, say, that 60 to 70 range, possibly like a 55 to 70 range, and in that range he only averages 51.8, and he's priced at 45, so he is in a better side. So, that could maybe be a 51.8, could easily become a 55, but I haven't seen it. And for the same reasons that you said on top of that, it's exactly the reason why he's a watch for me. What about you, Kenty? Anything to add on to Big Paps?
Yeah, massive watch. If he gets named to start, he's in my team. I guess I have a couple of concerns. One concern would be there's kind of 3 or 4 coaches in the league. Stewart, Cleary, there's a bunch of them, even Bellamy. They don't respect a particular big dog. They don't respect the name. They respect their team. And so they go off what's best for the team. And so what you will often find is some of these, great players can get rested at random times. They can get kind of used very, very differently. You see it at the Storm. You've seen it definitely at the Panthers. Some of the best teams do this. And so even if he's starting, even if he's the best forward in that game, they can still get less minutes. So it does worry me a little bit in comparison to, say, like a Couchman. He's likely to get that same sort of minute rotation week in, week out. I worry Papali'i will get a 60, everyone jumps on, he gets a 40. That sort of stuff happens all the time with these types of coaches, with these teams. That is why they are successful. That is why they make it to the finals so consistently, because they manage their teams really, really well. That's kind of my biggest concern with Papali'i. And when we saw Papali'i at his best with the Eels, they didn't manage him like that. They didn't respect the whole team. They kept their best player on the field. And that arguably is the best we've ever seen him. As long as he's at the Panthers, I don't think we will ever see him play like that again, because he just won't get those consistent minutes.
Super valid, isn't it? He hasn't had any massive bumper scores like that consistently since that period at the Eels.
I think it was the afro. The afro gave him some type of hours or something.
Yeah.
I mean, any one of us with curly hair that goes afro, curls get the girls, boys.
Yeah, they do. And they also create deceiving images. So what would happen is I've actually done a statistical analysis on this. But Papali'i runs to the line at one angle, drags the man, creates a gap just outside his right foot step. So when he steps to that right foot, what happens is his body moves, but his hair stays. So people are like, it delays reaction time. So yeah, he needs to get the afro back. Yeah, my afro ideology and statistical analysis. So my player of interest is Brian To'o. So with the whole narrative of the Panthers talking so heavily about how coming out this year, they're going to fire it, they want it. I don't just think it's words. We seen at the start of last season, they were off the pace. They were last on the ladder, remember, guys? Last on the ladder, and then pushed all the way to finals and nearly made the grand final again for what, 6 years in a row. So I think they figured it out. They fixed the problem in the back half of the season, or I think it was even later than the back half of the season, but they fixed the problem, got good, were nearly in a position where it was like, yeah, they could do it again. And now this year they're coming in from round one, having learned from those mistakes. Brian To'o priced at 533, priced at 40. He has a bit of a wall to climb. It's not like you would jump out in round one to buy him, but especially against the teams that the Panthers are coming up with to start. But my position is if he can just fall underneath that 500K bracket, bring down his priced value to maybe around about like a 37 or a 38, that is something that I will jump onto immediately in a tough winger fullback position this year. So it's something I'm watching for 3 weeks. And if I see what I want to see from it, I'm not asking any more questions. I'm taking on Brian To'o against poor teams and just see how he goes. Could be a quick 200K, could turn into someone that I'm like, you know what, I'm holding him long term. I doubt it. I don't think we'll see nearly 60 average To'o ever again. But if he priced in the 30s, I can see him going back to high 40s. So it's something I'm keeping an eye on. Do you guys have any thoughts there? It's a bit of a fringe one. I haven't even had him in my team yet, but I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I think he's a watch. I wouldn't start with him. Yeah, he's just priced too high for that. But I'm similar to you. If he dips down to 480, 460, he'll be in my team.
I'm quite stubborn, bro, and I've always had this rule that I'll never select wingers in my fantasy side, barring Jacob Kraz.
Really?
I'm sticking to that rule.
Interesting. Can I challenge you on that real quickly? If Xavier Coates goes on a try-scoring drought, falls into the high 200K bracket, and you're like, he's got easy games coming up, you're going to buy a winger in your fantasy team?
Nope.
Still wouldn't. Oh, that was one of my favorite buys ever 2 years ago or 2024. Xavier Coates got down to, I think it was 290K, and I bought him, and he ended up going up to like high 400s mid-season. Epic. Moving on. Casey McClean is another big one on coaches' tongues right now. The guy is so heavily owned, and I think the only reason he's being considered is because he had great form at the back end of the Panthers season. He had great form for the Kiwis, and now fantasy coaches are expecting that they're going to see a repeat of that performance, and we're going to get top-tier Casey McClean 600K value. I don't think that is true. And Kenty, you pointed this out pre-podcast in our mini assessment as to why it's an issue. You've got the floor. Say what you said. It was perfect.
Price at 480, he just doesn't have the base. He doesn't have consistent scoring enough to be able to actually select him. There's many players that play in the outside backs that have things like goal kicking, other areas where maybe it's tackles, other things that enable you to be able to kind of go, yeah, I can pinpoint his scoring profile. With Casey McClean, you just don't have that. Last year at centre, he's got 39 average. He's priced at 36. So you go, okay, that's interesting. The reality is that you're expecting him to be able to do so much better. You're expecting him to be into mid to late 40s. To be able to do that is really scary because ultimately he had games where he scored 2 tries for a 48. He had another game, 2 tries for 43. Really, really worries me. And in those games, he was well over 140 running meters. So he had 2 tries, 140 meters, and he only scored 43. It really, really scares me. Like the fluctuation, he has a floor of 13. And that 13 was against the Sea Eagles. And the Sea Eagles have not been great defenders for a long time. He had a 16 against the Eels. It just worries me massively because he just doesn't have a base. So what you're expecting from him is tries, and you're expecting meters gained. Now, don't get me wrong, his meters gained are impressive. 137 average. Here's a 0.7 average for tries. So what you will find is that he'll probably have a purple patch, and you just got to be able to pick it. But he's not someone I'm willing to throw the dice on from round one.
And just to add to that, just a little tiny bit on top of it, he's never, ever scored 60 or more.
Yeah.
That's insane.
The highest score is 58. And then under that, it's low 50s. So essentially, you could say that 58 was just an absolute. And that's for 2 tries, 168 meters. 11 tackles, which would be, it's his highest in his career. So the tackles actually had that 58 out. Even if he got his average of 7 or 8, 9 tackles, he's only just making it over the 50 mark.
And then the other part of that is, though, it's like, yeah, that's a nice purple patch for scoring. But if his value isn't right when you make that call, you're not going to get anything out of it. He's just going to hover. He'll like maybe make a quick, because the scores aren't dramatic. There's nothing spiking a scoring increase that drives his break even down. Like if he can push out a 70 and then all of a sudden go on a 3 or 4 game try scoring streak and, put up 50 plus scores, he will go up massive in just 5 weeks. But he just doesn't seem to have it. His missed tackle rate is incredibly high. 7 tackles against the Storm. He missed 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 4. Like 6 is another one. Like you can't be missing that many tackles. I reckon let's move on. Final one of the potty, guys. Isaiah Yeo. Brownie, have you got Isaiah Yeo in your side currently, or are you considering him at all?
I do not. He is of high consideration just because what he is as a player, what he can do, what he's known to do, and that's just slogging out 80-minute or 70 to 80-minute performances, tackling and running. That is why he's one of the biggest guns in the front row position in NRL Fantasy. So anyone who wants to buy him, go for it. I don't have anything negative to say on him whatsoever. I've got Couchman myself at the moment. If you want him, get him.
He's got the value there, but I will ask you then, do you have the Haas, Cleary, Herbie combo currently? Yeah, that's what I tried to build, that same combo and see what I could come from it. And I just couldn't get the players I wanted just by a little bit. And like, it's not that combo is bad at all. I actually think it's a very, very strong combination. Herbie Farnworth, Nathan Cleary, Payne Haas from round 1 with how much value we have in the mid-range. Like if you can find that balance in that team, that's going to be deadly. But instead I was like, you know what, let's get rid of Cleary, use the value in the halves, and I'll just put more money in my mid. So I have Yeo and Couchman in my edge and mid. So I've gone a different direction. But
that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, your reason for like pushing Yeo aside is nothing to do with he's not a bad buy. It's just like I just got a different team makeup. Do you have anything to add to Yoey, Kenty?
Yeah, man. I reckon he's fairly well slam dunk. He's essentially a pod. He's 15% owned. And if you think about it, there'll be numbers of people who don't really know what they're doing with the game that will just go off name. So you could probably instantly take 5 to 7% off. So therefore, you're looking at probably anywhere between 6 to 8% of actual knowledgeable coaches who have named him, who are likely to do quite well across the season. So he's right in that sort of pod range for me. If we talk about the same narrative about Cleary coming out to really like put demons away, I think the club captain has probably got more on his shoulders. He really carries that team often up through the middle to be able to provide that space and time for Cleary. So I can really see him really trying to step up. I can see him doing a huge game against the Broncos. He'll go huge against the Sharks, to be able to put AFB in his place and others. He'll do the same with the Roosters. I think out of Cleary or Yeo, I actually think that Yeo has got the potential to be a bigger earner, bigger point getter for your team. He's also underpriced, in my opinion. It's not hard to see him up in the low 900s, high 800s, and he's priced at 738 right now, priced at 55. And when you look at his history, there's very, very few games that he's under a 50. And I think what is putting people off is last year he had 2 games around the 30. There's a narrative around he's 31. Suddenly he's super old. I don't buy that either. So from my perspective, I think he is absolute gun material. If you can fit him, if you can make it work. The problem is ultimately because we've got so many issues at hooker, centre and winger, which we've talked about. People are fading some of these guns that probably you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And if those areas are so bad, then maybe we should just be going cheap. Like, for example, hooker. If you go expensive and you go to Grant and he's only going to get you a 50 and a cheap player, Simpkin, gets a 42, you're 8 points of difference, but you've now got the money to be able to get a Yeo who goes crazy at the start of the season and averages 60, you're winning. So that's where you've really got to look at your team makeup, look at your strategy, and understand what you're trying to achieve. And for me, my new team, mostly because I'm fading probably because of all of this injury scares and potential of him not playing Vegas with a round 2 bye gives me more money, and I'm looking at bringing in Yo and probably having him as a mainstay because we've already talked about Panthers being awesome over Origin. I can hold him the whole year.
Yeah, Yowie is a massive one for me as well. I think he'll go great. And it sounds like a weird pairing, this with Yo, but I've actually picked him as an antipod to Nathan Cleary, mostly because I think Cleary will struggle against harder teams, and I think Yo will do well. So it's like, well, can I get a little bit of a lead here on Nathan Cleary owners, plus value that Nathan Cleary won't get? And maybe that could be my win. I haven't really done it like that before.
No, but bro, that's exactly my kind of idea and strategy is antipod Cleary, bring in Yo. And I actually do think Yo is likely to do better than Cleary.
Some of the high-ranked guys this year are so low ownership. I don't know why they're being avoided so heavily, because my understanding is that you can get value in a whole team, but the reason you buy guns is for scoring security.
I honestly think the reason why they're being avoided is because we're spending too much money in those hard areas, hard positions.
Right. So like going to a Walsh and a Keeney as opposed to like a Farlongo and a Gray.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
And that's an experience thing. You can tell someone not to buy Keeney and not to buy Walsh, and you can look at, like, I look at Walsh and I look at Keeney right now, and I think I could easily have them in my team. I think they'll score well. I think they'll do great. But I reject them because I know the position doesn't average consistently. It's volatile. I'm going to look for value here so that I can get more money in positions that average well and score consistent. And then I'll look to build those positions later. I think it's 100% correct. Like, why are you buying anyone in your back five over anyone in your front five?
Even to the degree of like Grant, he started 2 weeks ago when the app first came out at like low 2-3%. He's now almost at 20. So if people are paying for Grant and paying up, you simply can't fill up the better positions that we know are our highest scoring positions.
Yeah.
Because they're paying up at hooker, they're paying up for a Herbie. Herbie's got outrageous ownership. And then they're paying up at winger fullback. Then we've got to pay down at mid and edge, and I think that's a mistake because those are our highest, particularly from round one, our highest scoring positions.
All right, guys, that's it for the Panthers, all wrapped up. Remember, follow Blindside NRL, Brownie's Breakdown, Kennedy's Market Move for the best NRL fantasy advice on the internet.
It's our year up the waz.